So what does your fascia need to be healthy? Here's what science says. 1. Unprogrammed movement. In this series, I'm going to be teaching you how to move from your unconscious mind, how to move intuitively. It's this innate unconscious movement that's unique to you that your neglected fascia craves. Number 2, biomorphic movement. This means moving like an animal. We want to release our habitual holding patterns and get more in touch with our fluid, organic nature. Don't worry, this is way easier than it seems. Lastly, fascia loves surprise. Your interconnective tissue reorganizes and rehydrates best when it is thrown into chaos. Jumping up and down and dance and spiral-like movements are all fantastic ways to counteract the habitual repetitive movements that daily life and most exercise classes ask of us. There are 2 critical things I want you to remember as we move through this series together. The first is to never force. If you force the body to stretch or move in a certain way, your interconnective tissue is going to tighten instead of soften, which is the opposite of what we want. The second is personalize the exercises in this video. Listen to your mind-body complex. Just like any other muscles you choose to stretch or strengthen, your mind-body wisdom will get stronger the more you use these videos. I'm going to be teaching you how to move in a way that's designed to inspire your own intuitive movements. As you come back to these videos, encourage yourself to release your inhibitions and liberate your body to move spontaneously. It's your intuitive, spontaneous movement that's going to rehydrate and reorganize your connective tissue in the way that's most effective for your body. I'm using a yoga mat in many of these routines, but you don't need one. You can practice on the carpet, the floor, or a blanket. Please do try to have a blanket nearby so it can support your joints in various positions. One question I wanted to answer that I know you might have is that yes, foam rolling and self-myofascial release tools like rolling on balls or props is fantastic for the fascia. However, I wanted to keep these videos accessible to everyone, so anyone at home could connect with their interconnective tissue and their mind-body wisdom, regardless of whether they owned a foam roller or certain props or balls. If you're interested in using self-MFR props, I have a whole nother video series that I encourage you to explore called Always Be Stretching. For now, all you need is your body, your awareness, and a floor. Dim the lights to create a healing atmosphere for all of these routines. This will help you more fully connect with your body. Let's get started. One of the best ways we can wake up our kinesthetic intelligence, our feeling intelligence in our body, is through practicing undulation. Undulation is just unprogrammed movement. So some of the things that we may do may look similar to yoga, but it's actually quite different. To begin, you're just going to come into a child's pose. So you can have your knees touching or wide apart. Your seat is back on your heels, and of course you can put pillows, couch cushions, blankets under the seat, between the seat and the heels, under the knees, anything you need to be comfortable here. And once you come down, allow the body to just rock very gently side to side. Do a body scan from the crown of your head. Just imagine an imaginary wave flowing through the body, just noticing and picking up any places that might feel a little tense, a little tender. Maybe bringing your attention to any specific spots you want to focus on today. Bring more fluidity and softness into those areas, and you can just set that intention now. And if there's no place in particular that's calling to you, that's perfectly fine as well. Slow your breathing down. Allow the belly to fill before the chest. Send the breath into the low back. And then we'll slightly alter this position by just walking our torso over to the left. So we're just draping the torso more towards the left knee than the right. And if your knees are together, same thing. You're just taking the torso over to the left. You can adjust the knees if needed. And then hands, forehead on hands, block or fists or pillows. Make yourself comfortable here. Just see if you notice a different kind of pull in the back line of the body. And send your breath into that space like it was a balloon you wanted to inflate with breath. So whether it's the hip or maybe the right side of the low back, just inflate that area with your breathing. Exhale, relax completely. Yeah. Just inflate that area with your breathing. And exhale, relax completely. Allow your bones to get heavy. Surrender the body to gravity. A few more deep breaths like this. Just practicing breathing into sensation. You can think of your breath like a light. And as you breathe in, that flashlight of your breath is trying to shine light on all the parts of the body interiorly where you feel sensation. So you're really filling up with breath to the point of bursting. And on your exhales, you just get heavier. Surrender to gravity more and more and more. Let's walk it over to the other side. Torso drapes over the right leg. How you want to prop yourself up and position here might be different from the first side. That's okay. Send your breath into your left side waist, left low back, left hip now. Blocks or pillows under the forehead here, always a really good idea. And you can always be up on your forearms as well. One of the best ways we can practice this kinesthetic intelligence is by closing the eyes and breathing into spaces in the body that we know are craving our attention or craving our release. So even if it might sound silly, just imagine a balloon in your low back or a balloon in your hip or a balloon anywhere that you feel sensation. And as you breathe in, fill that balloon up with your breath to the point of bursting. And then let the exhales just come effortlessly. And feel the body give a little bit into the floor. So there's a surrender. A few more breaths. Gently come back to center. We're going to come up into an all-fours position, so shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. And what we're going to do is going to look a lot like cat-cow for those of you who've done yoga, but it's actually incredibly different. So I want you to listen carefully. Start with your spine in just a neutral position. So spine parallel to the floor or mat. Pull your navel in. So you're just parallel to the ceiling. And then sometimes for me it helps to curl the toes under. I want you to imagine your spine like Christmas lights. every vertebra in your spine. And we're always going to start from the sacrum, your tailbone, the bottom of the spine when we move in this way. And just try to find a little bit of cow pose, which would be the big arch, right? Try to find cow, but just in the lower spine, sacrum, and the first few lumbar vertebrae. So the sits bones just gently tilt up. And then it's one vertebra at a time. We're coming in to our cow, moving through thoracic vertebra now, upper back, and then maybe a little bit lifting the chin. And just breathe here. So the neck is the last thing to move, and it's very subtle. And now from the tailbone, we'll round into our cat back. So just move the tailbone, don't move anything else. And just like one Christmas light at a time, each vertebra pulls up. And then make sure the head and chin are the very last thing to release, and hold here in your cat. So you'll do this a few more times on your own. Just initiating with the tailbone, sacral bones, low back. So we're moving incredibly slowly, just trying to feel each section of the spine. It's actually anatomically impossible for us to move vertebra by vertebra, but a lot of teachers, including myself, like to say this because it conjures the right image, right? One section of the spine, moving at a time. And if you do yoga, a lot of the time we initiate movements with the head or neck or shoulder. So for this exercise, initiate always first with the tail. Sits bones lift. Super slow. 2 more full rounds to practice on your own. Tail always goes first. So it's like a ripple wave from the tail forward and the tail back. Finishing up your last round wherever you are. We'll meet in all fours. You can uncurl the toes, keeping the navel pulled in to protect your low back. Just take your ribs from side to side. So allow yourself to lean to the right and to the left and to the right, almost like you were gonna fall or topple over to the right and left. And it's okay if the hips move too, but try to really focus on the rib cage, moving left and right. So if you're doing it all with your hips, just notice that. Again, it's okay for the hips to get involved, but try to keep it in the ribs. And now we're gonna do an undulation together called jump rope. And jump rope's gonna combine all the movements we've explored so far. So the cat-cow and the side to side. And I want you to imagine your body is a jump rope. Your spine is a jump rope, that Christmas light spine. So first you come up into your cat back like a Halloween cat. You'll take it all the way over to the right. You'll bend the elbows, because if you don't bend the elbows, it just doesn't work, to come into sort of that cow shape. Take the rib cage all the way to the left and then up and around. So it's like your spine was a jump rope that someone's jumping over. So you really got to get high, pull the belly in, really get really far to the side, bend the elbows, and really get low as you come down and around. And I'll be quiet now so you can keep playing with this on your own. Really bend the elbows, get the chest low to the ground. And when you're ready, switch directions. You might hear the spine snap, crackle, and pop a little bit. That's totally fine. It's just synovial fluid in the body or gas in the joints. Doesn't mean anything good or bad is happening. It's just natural. Couple more if you're feeling intuitively called to switch directions. Go for it again. First side. And if you want to switch sides again, just follow your intuition. Good. And then gently come to stillness. And allow yourself to make some intuitive movements now. So a lot of times for me, the jump rope like stirs something up, and now I'm finding I just want to make circles in my hips. So you might want to do cat-cow again, or go side to side again, or sort of slither, but let the head and neck go. And just whatever's calling to you, like however the jump rope wants to evolve, just make some intuitive movements here on all fours. And if you don't know what to do, just do what I'm doing. Just circle the hips forward and back. Imagining I'm stirring a giant pot with my tailbone. Let the head be loose and fluid. A few more breaths. You can switch directions or not. Remember, when we're working with the fascial matrix, it's very unusual that the two sides are even. So if you're feeling called to do something just on one side, or explore something just on one side in a certain way, you need to honor that. It's not like in our yoga practice where we want everything to be even when we work out. Good. We're gonna grow this into a down dog. If you prefer to stay on all fours, you can, but it might feel really good at this point to stretch. So if you're not familiar with dog, you just come from all fours, pull your knees into your chest, keep your heels high, send your torso towards your thighs, keeping the knees deeply bent, shine those sit bones towards the ceiling, and then pedal out the legs. So let's just keep everything moving. So even in this dog, do some little prances with the feet. I always think of like a leopard or a panther like pawing the ground before they jump on their prey, right? So see if you can get a little bit of that action going on in the feet and the hips and the shoulders. Nice, and then walk your hands back to your feet. Make sure the feet are nice and wide, hip width apart or wider so you feel really comfortable. You're gonna hold opposite elbows and just sway from side to side. Just feel a little stretch in the back of the legs. You can deeply bend the knees. Just think of that jump rope motion as you sway from side to side here. For me, the jump rope really helps loosen stuff up for me. Good. And then you can bend the knees, get low to the ground. Come into an all fours position, but at the back of your mat. So if you're on your mat, you're at the very back. And this next undulation we're gonna do together is called crawling. Now babies crawl, and their fascia is incredibly hydrated and supple. They don't have any of the habitual holding patterns that we grow later in life. And I love this crawling exercise. How it works is you just take your shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees to start. Make sure you have space to go forward. To just get us in the mood, we'll take the right leg up and back, and then just pull the knee in towards the left shoulder. So it's a little bit across the body. And right leg up and back. And exhale, knee to shoulder. Inhale, up and back. Knee to shoulder or nose, just waking up the spine. Inhale, up and back. And this time, set the right knee a little bit in front of you and take the left hand, so opposite hand as knee, a little bit in front of you. All right, so it's just like you did a crawl forward. And now, this is the fun part. You're just gonna let yourself juicily melt into this shape. Again, imagine sort of like that animal prancing. I always like to think shoulder, shoulder, hip, hip. So I melt into the front shoulder and other shoulder and back hip and hip. Or you can think hip, shoulder, shoulder, hip. And I'll be quiet now because there's really no way to teach undulation. I'm just trying to give you ideas to inspire you to start moving around in this shape. If the head wants to make neck rolls or circles, lean left to right and forward and back. Good, and then we'll take the right hand to meet the left knee forward. Same exercise just to warm up. Left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Inhale up. Exhale, round. I like doing this to start just because I think it brings a little bit of warmth into the low back. Gets us excited to move. And now left knee in front of you. Little forward, right hand comes a little forward. Adjust your stance if you need, and begin on this side. So you could imagine that the ground was incredibly unstable. So imagine the whole ground was like a mechanical bull that you were trying to ride, and you'd be all over the place, right? You'd be like, whoa, I can't keep my balance. So that's a great way to try to get some inspiration if you're not sure how to move here. Otherwise, just keep rocking forward and back, side to side. You can think shoulder, shoulder, hip, hip, shoulder, hip right away, shoulder, hip, and then just let it be your own. Don't be afraid to bend the elbows or get low to the floor. Or let your seat come towards the heels like a child's pose. And as you're ready, now you'll just crawl forward on your own. And you can take it forward again. And back. You don't have to have the hands in any particular way, just whatever feels good for your undulation. And back. And back. And wherever your crawling has taken you, keep moving, do not stop. But we will eventually be in the middle of the mat if you're on a mat. So a couple more breaths, crawling forward and back. Just with this idea of navigating towards the middle and resting it down into a child's pose. Just as you're ready. And how you evolve into that child's pose could be through hip circles or head and neck rolls. Some combination of the jump rope and everything else we've explored. Again, the idea is that these movements feel good once you let yourself go and you get into them. No one's watching. Doesn't matter what you look like. We're not trying to hit any particular shape or form. And when you're ready, settle down in your child's pose. Maybe recapture your breath. And for the next exercise, I want you to remember how we moved the torso to the left and right when we were in child's pose at the beginning. And I want you to imagine you have one of those flashlights on your forehead that people use when they're camping. My husband loves these. He always has them in our garage. And it's just like a big flashlight with a headband that he wears. And he has like a headlamp. So I want you to imagine you're wearing this headlamp now. And we'll take the body over to the left, just like we did before. So torso's draping towards the left in our child's pose. But then we're gonna keep walking. And it's like you wanna shine that headlamp. You can bring the seat up, or you can keep the seat down. I'll do it with the seat down first. You wanna take that headlamp to shine to the left, to the ceiling, and all the way down to the right till our torso's over the right thigh. And you can do that again. Now you don't want to hurt or strain the neck in any way that feels unsafe. If it feels comfortable for you to let the head and neck go and kind of roll back, please do. If that doesn't feel comfortable or safe, just keep the chin into the chest or stretch the neck to the side some other way. Now you can also do this through lifting the hips off the heels and coming around and around and around. However you want to intuitively move. And if you feel ready, you can switch directions. You're just making this movement feel good for you. Maybe the arms get involved. Maybe they lift up. Maybe they stay down. A few more breaths on your own here. Just play and explore. As you're ready, I'll meet in a child's pose. Let the breath go. And then slowly reach the arms forward. Come back to your one vertebra at a time. Up cat and cow, or cat and cow again. So I like to curl the toes under, starting just with the tailbone, rounding, rounding, rounding. Head and neck is last. And then starting again with the tailbone, arching, arching. Head and neck is last. 2 more on your own. And just notice if it maybe feels more supple or more easeful this time around. And we'll meet in a downward dog over the course of the next 2 breaths. Bend the knees, lift the heels high, just press your chest towards your thighs. Pedal through the legs again, get that prancing movement. Good. And then just step the right foot forward, or you can carry it forward. It doesn't matter how you get there, we're just trying to get into like a wide-legged position, wide-legged forward fold. And just allow yourself to sort of slither and move side to side. Side to side. And now we'll pulse 3 times into this right knee or left knee, if you're doing the same as me. And then just other knee 3 times. Good. 2 times. 2 times. And if you need to be up here because your hands can't reach the floor, it's fine, doesn't matter. Once, And now just move intuitively side to side so you can stay up high. Or you can be way down low. And then as you're ready, take the hands to the inside of the thighs. Stick the booty out. And if you're really a lot of flexibility on the inner thighs, you can actually take your elbows to the inner thighs and just rock side to side. Otherwise, you're up here, little rocking, let the shoulders get involved. Good. And then see if you can play a little up cat, so that idea of the cow, the open cow. And initiating with the tailbone, neck last, to round, so just what we did on all fours, but now in a standing shape. Initiate with the tail first. Arch. And round, starting with the tail. Head is always last. Good, 2 more, just playing. It's really hard to move through the tail and head last, especially if you're a big yogi and you're used to always doing everything together. Good. And then heel toe the feet a little closer together. Last few things here. We'll do that same flashlight exercise with the head standing. So you're just taking the body up, down, and around. Imagining you had that flashlight on your head. Maybe the arms get involved. You can take the feet a little wider apart. Switch directions if that's what you're needing. But really challenge yourself to use the side plane of the body. So you're really making some big circles or big sweeping movements that involve not just the front and back fascial lines, but the sides as well. Arms up or down. Close the eyes. Always bending the knees a lot. Gotta bend the knees. Good, and then once you're done, just join me to stand. This next undulation exercise is just a shift of weight, one foot to the other. This actually really helps us with our balance. So you're just gonna let the body kind of fall to one side and then the other, just shifting the weight in the feet. Just tick-tock. If you need a wider stance, that's fine. And you can keep doing this, or you can go back to the flashlight, or if you're a yogi like me and you just want to do a quick test now, come into tree pose, your version of tree pose, and see what your balance is like, having done all these fascial undulation awakening exercises. And your tree pose can always be down here. And then switch to the other side. And of course, everyone's experience is going to be different, but you may find that you can actually balance extremely well and quite easily and effortlessly now that you've opened up the body through letting go of our habitual patterning through unconscious movement. Come back to side, just to let that go. And then we'll just end before you go off to start your day with some jumps. However you want to jump. Our fascia loves to jump. It loves chaos. So you can even move the arms around, get really crazy, jump wide, jump together, jump in circles. Doesn't matter. Just jump. Keep it going. It's great cardio too. Go. Go. And if you want, close your eyes and let your head go and kind of let the jumping unwind you a little bit. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go out, walk into the world and start your day. I hope you feel joyful and enlivened and like there's more fluidity in your body now as you go out to start your day. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me, from my heart to yours. Namaste.